is a Cosmic Octave original podcast.
Me and Jake running down the street with a handful of comic books, kicking ass and banging chicks and drinking booze
No, not
and
me.
smoking
Not
weed.
me. I'm married.
Yeah, well,
I'm married.
Jake.
Can't do that.
Yeah. Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.
What's up?
That still makes me laugh.
It makes me giggle because it's so not us.
So stupid.
And it's so like you said, it's like a 12-year-old's idea of what,
what
cool is.
Or being an adult.
We're just banging chicks, man, and kicking ass.
Reading comic books and smoking weed and drinking booze and banging chicks.
Yeah. But that's not us.
So don't come after us, woke left.
Because we'll cancel you back.
Yeah.
And then you'll cancel us, we'll cancel you, and then you cancel them, then we can, it's
that kind of stupid thinking and way of looking at the world of the woke left is gonna be a theme later. But not right now. We're gonna have some fun.
Welcome
first.
into episode 103 of Off Panel Off Topic. I didn't even think we'd make it to 100.
That's
now
how many.
we're 3 eps deep. Technically 4, because it's 100, 101, 102.
Right. Well, the Flash episode doesn't count.
Well, that's 99.5.
Right.
It's a half.
Hey, Ezra Miller, we did that because of you.
You cost yourself a whole number.
Well,
in this
I'm never acting again.
In this 10 listener podcast. We have a bigger audience on YouTube.
Do we?
Just because it's clips. People don't listen the whole time.
No.
We're not that important. But we're just a couple of guys.
I'm Jake.
No, you're Tyler, man. I'm Jake.
I can't believe I fucked that up. I'm looking right at you. Jesus Christ.
That's not a bit. You were being genuine? Good Lord. I thought you were joking. You should have lied. You should have lied. Why didn't you lie?
Oh, because it's funnier that I
All right. Anyway.
leaned into it.
It's going to be So here's what's funny. Coming into this week, I thought...
Man, there's nothing like a wasteland. There's no news stories.
Yeah. And then I have this whole episode kind of planned out, and then I have to throw it into the garbage bin because there's a bunch of things that I really wanted to talk about that showed up in the news. So that's why we have a pretty news-heavy episode, which we haven't had in a while.
Right, which is great, but it's a lot like in the radio station I work at, sports station, last Friday, Fitzgerald, and then the Bob Huggins thing. Yeah. All happened on Friday. So Monday comes around, and holy crap, we got a shitload of stuff to talk about. So much. Even in the off season, which is the summertime is pretty much the slow season for sports.
For sports, absolutely. Yeah.
Reporting.
This time is a wasteland.
Hey, Major League Baseball, nobody gives a fuck about you. Wow. Let's add another team. How about if you let everybody watch the fucking games?
That would
dipshit.
That would be fun.
You know a great way to grow your sport? Make sure everybody has access to it.
Accessibility. Wow. Accessibility.
Do you live in Chicago where you ain't watching the Cubs? Why? Just cuz?
Fuck you. That's why.
Really?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, before...
Wang.
As we were... Sorry, that
was a drop.
The sound effects of the soundboard, I mean. We're off to an amazing start.
We suck.
We're fucking amateurs.
This isn't technical difficulties. This is
just us.
This is us.
At some point, you have to acknowledge it's a skill issue. So anyway, we're going to talk about, first up, as I said, this episode is going to start pretty fun and then kind of get dark towards the end, but it'll be entertaining.
Well, it's not our fault. It's fucking Jim fucking Viesel's fault. Let's go.
Thanks, Jesus. All right.
Thanks a lot. Hey, can I just say one thing? I don't give a fuck who I'm playing in a movie. I'm not fucking going through the kind of injuries that you did just so you could play Jesus. He got struck by lightning twice.
That was God. That was God. Thanks.
Stop making this fucking movie, you goddamn heathens.
All right. Anyway, so yeah, let's talk about first the fun stuff.
Nice.
The fun stuff.
Sometimes we're good.
It's an emotional roller coaster every episode, apparently, with our own self-confidence.
Listen, you can see it dip right here. Here's a graph.
And then Jake gets sad again.
Oh, it's terrible.
Some childhood trauma.
Goddamn it, we're off topic again. What?
You did the title. This is a fun episode. So let's talk about Deadpool 3.
Yes.
So we saw Hugh Jackman released it first on his Instagram, and then they showed high-res pictures of it. So we got a couple set photos from Deadpool 3.
But he doesn't have the hair.
The thing that's blowing up the internet, though,
Yeah.
is Wolverine finally in the blue and yellow.
But he doesn't have the hair.
The hair's what?
It's not.
He doesn't have the cowl yet. I hope the cowl is not CG. I really.
Yeah,
if
come
they're-
on.
If they're not
Learn from
look,
Love and Thunder.
Yeah, if he's not gonna wear it, he's not gonna wear it.
That's fine. Fine.
That's fine. You gave us blue and yellow. That's
But don't
fine.
give us like a fucking.
Don't put a fucking fake ass CG helmet on him. Like don't do that. But it looks great. It looks so good, and you kind of think of like, think of the first Deadpool, and how like neon yellow those. I mean, they're like not super bright, but they're yellow X-Men uniforms. Go back 23 years to that first X-Men movie, and they went the Grant Morrison. I think it was the Ultimate X-Men look, where it's like more of like a
Like a biker gang.
I was gonna say like a government
Oh.
or not a strike team is kind of what I thought,
SWAT
or like a
team.
stealther look.
Sure.
Sleeker look.
Yep.
But it's like we said before, like with the Transformers movies, it's like there's a reason these costumes are recognizable and they pop on a page because they're colorful and they're gonna pop on screen. They're gonna look great, but we had to get there. And to just think that we are now 23 years later and we're finally seeing Wolverine in blue and yellow, it's fucking gorgeous. And the fact they got Hugh Jackman to come back and wear it, like, oh my God, yes. Like, this is what we wanted. And look, I'm a little worried this movie's coming out during a writer's strike.
Yes.
I'm a little worried about that. But at this point, even if it's bad, I'm still going to enjoy it. Because Deadpool is a ridiculous character.
Can I make a no? It's not going to be like this, but can I make a little bit of a analogy here or a metaphor, or a whatever?
Just
one of those.
talk, bro. Spit it out.
So
Come on.
two of the worst like superhero movies in modern recent history, Daredevil and Green Lantern, really pretty bad.
Man, look.
Listen,
I have a special place for Daredevil.
I was going to say that I enjoyed both Daredevil and Green Lantern when I went to watch them, even though it was a shitty movie. Why? Because it was fucking Daredevil and Green fucking Lantern on a movie screen. It was awesome.
I will say, I felt like that first Daredevil movie does hit some good beats with the character, but
I loved Michael Clark Duncan as the Kingpin.
I enjoyed him as Kingpin.
Cannot beat that casting.
Look, I kind of love Colin Farrell's extremely over-the-top performance.
Yes, even though he looks nothing like the character in the
kinda love
comics. It was so over the top, though, that it.
Different podcast. We should do a Daredevil commentary.
Oh my God! Yes. Okay. So.
But anyway, sorry.
Okay.
To bring it back
But
around, but what you were
the
talking
point.
about.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Ben Affleck rumors
Yes.
that he could be coming back as Daredevil. Have you seen that?
No.
So there's two rumors. There's one.
In Deadpool?
Yeah. Hold on.
Okay.
Let me get to this.
'Kay.
So have you seen all the set photos?
No.
There's what the set photos were is a fight scene between Deadpool and Wolverine, and they're fighting in front of a decaying, destroyed 20th Century Fox logo.
Oh.
So there's speculation that this is going to be a Deadpool and Wolverine team-up movie where they kill the Fox Marvel, like the Fox X-Men shit, and then bring in. And my thought would be bringing in the new X-Men. I am still, and you can go back on this other episodes when they first announced Hugh Jackman coming back. I thought they're not. So they said they weren't touching Logan. This has to be something like what you said with Deadpool Secret Wars.
Uh-huh.
This has to tie into Secret Wars in some way because this is a multiversal movie.
Oh yeah.
And you and I both thought that this was going to be Deadpool killing off the Fox X-Men and bringing in the MCU
There's those couple
X-Men.
series. Deadpool kills the Marvel Universe. Marvel Universe kills Deadpool.
And then there's
they're fantastic fucking series, dude.
There's a groundswell of theories that it's Deadpool kills the Fox Marvel Universe. Like that's what he's doing, and do it if you're going for it. Do it and be insane. And
yes.
Again, I don't care what anybody says about this movie. At the end of the day, look, I have gone back and read, and this isn't a long box thing. This is just I started reading because of that. This is how, believe it or not, comic book movie news pushes comic books, kids. You want to read the books about the characters, right? So I even went to Joe Kelly's Deadpool Classic, Volume 1, because I never really read his run, and I had liked the little bit of runs that he had done. And like I like his team-up book he does with Spider-Man. Like Joe Kelly wrote it. It's really good. And are there moments where it feels like, okay, this is late 90s, early 2000s humor, especially with these, it's late 90s humor. But like, it got me juiced up and excited about this because what I love so much about Deadpool has some really good serious tone comics, and they can work, and I think they could do that story. But I love the idea of where there's a lot of Deadpool arcs where it's super insane and over the top. It only works because Deadpool's the lead. You know what I mean? And so go for it. You have to bring in fucking Bob. Is it Bob, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.? Bring him in, dude. That'd be so fucking funny. Like, if that's how it connect. Like, there's just
I
just want it to be
I'm
insane.
not a huge fan of Deadpool as a character in the comics simply because I haven't had enough exposure to the good stuff. My exposure to Deadpool is Liefeld, and that shit is horrendous.
He cannot draw feet.
But he can't fucking write either. Okay,
So
he took over writing.
But so the Deadpool Classic Volume 1 that's packaged right now from Marvel, it has the New Mutants issue.
Right. Well, I was gonna say, if you let me finish,
okay,
because I had a thing going.
Well, I was trying to say I know what you mean about his art because Joe Kelly's writing,
right.
But it's his art. It's Rob Liefeld's art.
Well, the thing is that one of my favorite trade paperbacks that I have is Deadpool's Secret Wars, and because Secret Wars is something I grew up with, the original one with Zek and Shooter, and I think it's Cullen Bunn writes it, but he crafts a way that you can see that he might have actually been there.
Are you talking about Secret Wars?
Yeah, I guess it's called Secret Wars, but it's where he was actually at Secret Wars, and nobody know. But the way that I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but the way that they write it in that nobody remembers that he was there is really kind of fucking brilliant.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm wondering if this is going to be like that story where Deadpool was always in the background of the Fox X-Men stuff, but nobody remembered.
Or maybe even the MCU stuff.
Dude, the last two Deadpools, they already did that. They already weaved that into the last two Deadpools.
Maybe it's like I said, maybe it's him always being in the MCU. He was always there. That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Well, okay, yeah. Well,
then they write it into the MCU that's why he.
Yeah. Or they've got to. I'm wondering. There's got to me. There might be a TVA. Like, there has to be some sort of TVA connection. I'm not saying that he's going to be.
Oh, the time variance.
I'm not saying
okay.
Deadpool's going to be in fucking Loki or anything.
Right.
But I'm saying like, there has to be like they show up at the end of this movie or something, and like I don't know, but I'm wondering how it's going to wove into the major MCU and Secret Wars and all that other shit. But it's. Again, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm very excited because, again, it's just something we knew years ago, but it took everybody else, a mainstream audience, to be okay with it. Like, these costumes look like this for a reason because they fucking pop, man.
They're fucking gorgeous.
He looks so good. And I want to say, the people out there complaining about the sleeves, it's because of Hugh Jackman's skin condition. And he's out in the sun, and his skin condition makes him more susceptible. Thank you. To skin cancer. So that's why he was wearing more. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's indoors because he's gotten jacked again. So he's gonna be sleeveless at some point.
Yeah, calm the fuck down.
But it's like, dude, come on. These are people here.
Also, you're seeing behind the scenes shots. There's a lot of shit that's in that shot or that isn't that yet. You know what I mean? Like,
and also somehow they took the Deadpool costume, which was already one of the best comic book translations of a costume, like just picture perfect. They made it better somehow in this set photo because it's a lighter red and it just looks better and it looks so great contrasting next to him. I've for years. Tyler, for fucking years.
Tell it.
I have wanted this Ryan Reynolds Hugh Jackman team up movie. I wanted to wear a Wolverine Deadpool team up movie for so many years. We finally get it, and it like somebody made a great point. It's the greatest glow up of all time because look how shitty they looked in that Wolverine movie, and now look how cool they look. And it's like, again, I don't care. This movie could be dog shit. I'm still gonna find ways to enjoy it. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna have a lot of bias towards this movie. I don't see how it could let me down, because now I'm starting to buy in to the Ben Affleck
Look, man,
rumors.
fucking
I'm buying
Multiverse of Madness fucking did Black Bolt dirty, and I still liked it because it was cool. It was Black Bolt. That's cool.
Dude,
it's Reed Richards.
Did you see the other one that the Jennifer Gardner as Elektra coming back?
Oh no, that's crazy,
dude. What if the ace in the hole would be to get Colin Farrell to be Bullseye again? That would be insane, but it wouldn't work. Oh, would it? But so
they need to bring the Fantastic Four in from the Fox.
But see,
movies.
this is what I'm worried about, and I need people, and I'm excited. You can tell I'm worked up about it, but keep your expectations low because Multiverse of Madness.
Please address the fucking Galactus cloud.
Well, hold on. I think a lot of the problem with
that's not what Galactus looks like in my universe. What the fuck is that?
I think people.
I can see it now.
I think people were misled in what they were getting with Multiverse of Madness because they led in too much to rumors and stuff like that. Where I think it got way out of proportion, and we thought that Illuminati scene was going to be the whole entire movie, and there's like all this stuff. And I just want people to like calm down and like think about it, 'cause,
here's a great thing. I was recently listening to an old episode of our podcast, and it was the episode where we had just seen Spider-Man, No Way Home. Yeah. And I was talking about how during a lot of parts, especially like in that end scene when all the people are coming through, like I was expecting to see more. And it was like, dude, are you not satisfied with what you got?
Yeah.
You got all 3 Spider-Men. You got all the fucking old villains and shit.
This is how
what more do you want?
This is how spoiled we are. We got Endgame, one of the greatest crossover movies of all time.
Yeah.
Will never be topped. I don't know how hard they're going to try with that, Secret Wars. I don't know how that would work, but like we've been so spoiled by that like, yeah, everything has to be like this fucking blowing our mind thing. And then we got spoiled because they followed it up with No Way Home, which was fucking awesome. And it's like, oh shit. And and I enjoyed Multiverse of Madness.
Sure, I did too.
I think a lot more people enjoy that over Love and Thunder. And I liked Love and Thunder, but
it was okay.
I have a deeper meaning for Multiverse because I fucking love Sam Raimi. So I mean, I'm always gonna pick that.
Oh well.
So now I'm starting to.
I'm Jake. No, you're Tyler.
What if they brought back the Fantastic Four? Like the Fox one.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah, I know. What if they did that too?
Did you not hear me do the whole Galactus cloud thing?
We do need to address the Galactus cloud.
I think it would be
what
hilarious.
If they got Lawrence Fishburne back to be
I think it would be hilarious. I think it would be just hilarious if there's a segment in the movie where he like pops into the Fox universe or the Fantastic Four or whatever Fox universe, and Galactus is coming or whatever, and he's like, "What's going on, guys? What? That's not what it looks like in my universe. This is what it looks like in my universe." He snaps his fingers, and we actually get to see fucking Galactus.
Yeah, that'd be nuts.
And the Fantastic Four in that universe die of fright. And that's how they die.
Wow. That's a shitty way to die.
Except for Chris Evans. He comes back and goes, "I'm going to be Steve Rogers."
And
then they jump through a wormhole onto the helicarrier during the Avengers.
To wrap up this
and they beat up the real Steve Rogers, and Chris Evans, who was playing the Human Torch, merges with Steve
Flaming
Rogers.
Captain America.
And that is retconning, ladies and gentlemen, of the finest degree.
It's not.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
So realistically,
what?
Let's have our. We don't need to. Let's just be honest. Because I don't want to get. I don't want to get.
Just about to say go to hell.
Like I said, I don't want to get overhyped here. I think we might see Fassbender, McAvoy back.
Probably.
And possibly a very brief cameo from Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, and like merging those together again. Or I could see it be completely different and do nothing, and it's just nothing related to that. It's just Wolverine and Deadpool fighting each other in the apocalypse.
I think it would be really, really funny if they brought back a bit from the second one and they interviewed like a bunch of different Professor X's and Magnetos.
Mm-hmm.
and picked like the best one.
Or maybe they're doing
And you could make fun of the rumors by like, okay, what's the one? The common one if they did a race swap is Denzel Washington and who's the other one? Who's the other actor? Thanks.
I don't know where you're going with this.
There's been rumors about like different people that they could have for Professor X and Magneto in the new one, and one of them is if they race swapped it.
Was going to be
Yes, and Denzel Washington if they did a race swap, which I think would be really funny because if they aren't actually in the running, they could be in the movie and be like, "How the fuck can you not pick us?
Yeah,
we're Denzel and Giancarlo."
Yeah. You could get meta.
Are you out of your mind?
I think it's going to be a pretty meta.
That's what I'm saying. You know what? If they do that bit that I just said, it's not going to be a good movie. Why? Because I thought of it.
I'm trying to temper my expectations because it is also during a writer's
It's going to blow my fucking mind.
It's during a writer's strike. That means they can't improvise.
I'm not holding back nothing.
But I think it could be good. I'm excited.
I think you're going to be good.
I got booked up to. Maybe it's a crazy way to also introduce secretly the next Wolverine. It'd be like, this is the MCU Wolverine.
Yeah,
whoa,
you already said that.
What a weird.
Let's move on to the next topic. On off panel. Off topic.
All right. You trying to make a drop? It
That
feels
was
like every
fucking
week you're
great.
like, is that a drop, Jake? Is that good enough?
Fart. There's a drop.
Brilliant!
Thanks.
All right.
Wait, did you get
You know what the
you...
listener is?
Art thou bored?
Wow. Fuck you.
Wow. All right, next topic. Another. Speaking of more exciting news. Good Lord. Good.
There goes a long.
Examples of a filmmaker getting it right once again with superheroes. We got more casting news for Superman Legacy.
I am beyond pleased.
Brilliant move, WB. I know what you're doing. I know what they're doing. The Flash failed so epically. They're like, well, look at this shiny new movie we're working on. Oh, and Blue Beetle looks good too, right? Well, look at this shiny new Superman movie. But you know what? I'm here for it. So, two things we already knew coming into this. It was David Corenswet or Corens. I'm butchering his name, but we know who this Superman
is. It's some dude.
And Rachel Brosnahan, I think. I'm butchering these
some
names.
lady.
Stop it. Marvelous Miss Maisel, which wrapped up. Great show. Loved it.
Oh, cool.
She is going to be Lois Lane, and that was exciting to me because I think she's a perfect cast for that. And then we got even more this past week, and I got to add a new one because this happened after I wrote it. But your boy NoHo Hank from Barry, he's going to be in it as what was it? Metamorpho. Metamorpho, yeah.
So while you're doing that,
so he's in it, which I think you look at like some of these are just like, okay, we're really hitting good notes here. Like this seems like a pretty solid
Metamorpho
cast.
is a member of the Outsiders who was a team that was led by Batman for many years. So you should be well familiar with Metamorpho.
Well, Elemental
and
Man.
Katana.
Yeah. But I'm excited. I think this cast looks great because we
Who
have
else was in the Outsiders? Black Lightning. Yeah.
We have NoHo Hank, who he's also in I think it was Fatherhood was the name of it. It was a Kevin Hart movie. He's really funny in that too. That dude's funny, and so I'm excited about him being a part of it. Isabella Merced will play Hawk Girl.
Huh?
Hawk Girl.
Oh, I thought you said Hot Girl, and I'm like,
what? Sorry. Ah, damn it. Where was the board? It's too late now. The moment's gone.
I thought you said Hot Girl. Oh.
I said Hawk Girl.
That's cool.
Eddie Gathige. I'm butchering these names. I'm sorry. Will be Mr. Terrific.
Okay.
And then Nathan Fillion will be
Guy
Gardner, Green Lantern.
Yes.
Everybody's like, Hal. Like, it's surprising he's not Hal. And I think it's an age thing. And I also think it could be a way that they're saying that he is the Green Lantern because Hal and John are off-world doing some other shit. And, like, he's stuck on Earth. Like, he's back on Earth to help that. I don't know. Something like that.
If they don't give us a fucking bowl cut, I'm going to be really pissed.
Either way, the fact that he...
I want a bowl cut, James Gunn.
Tyler, the fact that James Gunn works with Nathan Fillion his whole career, and then says, "Hey, buddy, I'm giving you a Green Lantern spot in a live action movie." That's awesome. Now people could say like, "Oh, you're hiring your friends." I'm like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want to work with your friends? Like, fuck off.
I'm assuming that most of the right wingers and stuff really love Adam Sandler movies. And let me just tell you,
All he does is hire his friends.
right? And hey, Jake,
There's nothing wrong with it.
Say you have a $300 million contract with Netflix to make movies for a while. Whatever the fuck you want.
You don't think I'm not going to call you? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Why wouldn't I have all of my friends on my movie who are all actors?
And work with me and know me. You work with who you know. Like, it's silly. Like, dude,
Directors have actors. You know, there's a reason why De Niro worked with Scorsese. There's a reason why
Leonardo works with Scorsese. all the
Leonardo,
time, too.
and Pitt
Leonardo
has had a little bit of a run with Tarantino. Samuel L. Jackson, Tarantino. Duh.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. Tim
that's
Burton and Johnny Depp, you know, like, it's happened throughout, and there's nothing wrong with it. But that's what I mean. I feel like sometimes, like the Nathan Fillion thing, I think most people are excited about it, but I think there is that Snyder cult audience that is and not even like the people that are just like against this James Gunn universe.
Yeah.
Will make that criticism, and I'm like, that's such a shitty bull. Like, that's not a criticism, because like you just said, there are plenty of great examples of actors and directors working together through multiple projects, and you know what? They're good. Because they know each other, and they're friends, and they're comfortable, and they know how to work with each other and tell a story together. It's almost like that's a good thing. It's like so fucking dumb. It's such a lame, like, they're just coping. Because everything we're learning right now with Superman Legacy, it's exciting. Because and James Gunn also confirmed on Twitter, he said, I'm not putting these characters in this movie to set up a project. They're part of the story. It's not intention of like, well, we're going to, and then out of this, we're going to make the Guy Gardner one. And then we're going to, you know, it's like, it's not doing that. It's saying it's in this world,
look,
but it's
I trust James Gunn because, you know, whoever made Black Adam, looking at you, Dwayne, whoever made Black Adam was clearly.
What the Rock
is cooking. Was clearly meant to set up a JSA project. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
It's clearly meant, and you could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell.
They're literally in the movie.
I don't know. I mean, I trust James Gunn not to. He hasn't. I think I think the success behind James Gunn is that he knows he can't repeat himself, or that he shouldn't, and he knows he doesn't have to. One of those three.
I also think you said something to the effect of he doesn't write his stories to necessarily set things up. But now he did set things up with Guardians 1 because he said that's the one thing that Feige required was he tie it to the Infinity Stones. That was it. But like if you watch that Guardians trilogy, it is a connected story between those group of people. Yes, they show up in other movies, but that is like James Gunn wrote those characters with the same through line throughout. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we're seeing with Legacy. I think he's being genuine when he's saying like these characters have a purpose to this story. They're not just there to set up the JSA or the Justice League or whatever. They're just a part of this story that I wrote, which is exciting because DC needs to embrace that side of itself. What makes DC work, you can push back on this. I think DC makes better team books.
You're wrong.
In my opinion, I think the Justice...
Your opinion doesn't matter. I got Jesus on my side.
No, I do. And he's in a red cape, motherfucker. No, but in my opinion, and I'm a DC fanboy shill, take that with what you will, with a grain of salt. My opinion is I've always preferred the Justice League versus the Avengers. I always thought Justice League was a better team, in my opinion. And I've upset Tyler.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
What? You got Batman, you got Superman, you got Wonder Woman, you got a Green Lantern.
If you don't know, I am a huge fan of Justice League International, which came out in the 80s. Geffen, DeMatteis, McGuire, and is one of the greatest team books in DC history. And,
you're saying nice things about DC?
I like a lot of DC. I do. If I'm in this comic store, or store.
You just prefer Marvel. It's fine. I'm just messing with you.
But it's true. Like, I'll walk in front, and maybe it's. I mean, I don't generally buy any DC books because I'm like, I don't really care that much.
And I'll be honest,
I can buy a Marvel book and be back the next month to get it again if it's a decent enough story, because I care about the characters. Just like yeah. But Justice League International is one of the all-time greatest team books in comic book history, dude. It's the One Punch Batman Guy Gardner, okay? It's the fucking Shazam eating Oreo cookies because nobody knows he's a fucking 8-year-old kid named Billy Batson, okay?
Yeah.
It's fucking Booster Gold fucking and Beetle and Blue Beetle. It's fucking classic, okay? So, I will give you that I don't know that I can compare the two, so I can't really say you're not right. I do generally enjoy and buy more solo books when I'm buying Marvel. I did get into the Avengers recently, as you know, but because they were doing like this huge multiversal thing, and it was pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I mean, you may very well be right. I don't read enough. I don't think I read enough team books in Marvel to make that distinction.
This is also coming with me.
But X-Men in the 80s and in early 90s was fucking top notch.
But this is also coming from my opinion of doing our sideshow, Drawn to DC, where I've been watching.
I'm not invited.
These DC animated movies, and I've talked about it ad nauseum on that show, and I talked about it on this show. I just think DC's strength is its ability to weave in a good, believable way, weave these characters together. Right? I can believe that Batman and Superman and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman and all, Aquaman, whoever, are on this team together, and they do. I've always thought that DC has done a really good job of weaving its continuity into everything. And
by the way,
they also have a really bad problem with doing that too much and then having to constantly reset because everything is if you want to read one story, you have to read 6 or 7 different fucking titles at a time. You know what I mean?
The problem with DC, and
that's always been my issue with DC.
Here's the biggest issue with DC.
And Marvel does it too. Everybody does it.
Hang on. Here's the biggest issue with DC. For the first, from the 30s until pretty much like the 70s, there's no continuity. None. Writers don't pay attention to what other writers are doing. Writers write shit the way they want and don't give a shit how somebody else writes that character.
That's why you have constant retcons.
Exactly. Right. So in the 70s, 60s and 70s, they decide we're going to make all these Earths to explain the continuity and why these characters act the way they do, blah, 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 which is dumb. Then they get themselves into a quagmire for 10 years. And then they have Legends, and then they have the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Well, I'm sorry. Reverse that. Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then Legends resets the DC universe. And then Man of Steel resets Superman, all that shit, right? Then, so you have like 50 years. You have almost 50 years of no continuity, then like 10 of like really, really convoluted continuity. And then you have...
the New 52.
Right.
And then the Rebirth. And now we're on...
The problem is that they had, in the 90s, they had like a Crisis. And then they had another one in the aughts. And then they had another one in the
Dark
10s.
Knight's Metal? Remember that?
Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Dark Multiverse? Yeah.
I mean, that stuff was cool, but like, what are you guys doing? I mean, I will say this about Marvel. Marvel has never done a hard fucking reset. They never have. They've done retconning to the point where things aren't the same. And they can explain away why Peter Parker is whatever, right? They can explain away why people don't age and whatnot.
I want to say I don't have a problem with multiverses. I do want to make a point clear that I do like Dark Knight's Metal, and I don't.
It can be fun.
It's not. I think there's some cool things that came out of it. I think that the problem is they found some things that are really cool, and they kind of. I don't know. I kind of was over the Batman Who Laughs after his story. I was like, you know what? Okay, that was a good story. I don't need any more of this. Whatever. No. But what I was trying to say is like that's the thing. DC makes it such like this. They go with like this New 52 thing, and they have this big event, blow it all up again. Goes into
like a year later.
Goes into Rebirth.
What was it, like 2 years later or something? They didn't even give 52 a chance.
But that's what's so frustrating.
But 52 was really bad.
Like I said, they've always been really good at weaving in this stuff. So then you do get invested, like, oh, this is the new 52 version of Batman. This is the new 52 Superman. And then we go, oh, well, now we got to change it to this to do Rebirth. And we got to do this.
Right.
And I understand how that, like, I think that's a fair criticism
Sure.
of canon. And I think that's what I'm interested to see what James Gunn can do with this connectivity.
Which is
because
why
he wants to
across the
connect
Spider-Verse, that whole canon bit is so fucking brilliant because it's just like it's so meta when it comes to comics.
Yeah,
and
because it always has to be this one thing.
you ruined a
and
canon event. Yeah.
Who cares? Let them make whatever they want to make.
Here's something that I want to bring up that a lot of people who read comic books don't think about or talk about enough. Okay, there's no rule for how much time takes place between each issue.
No.
Okay, now I want to explain something to our younger listeners. There was a book in the 80s from Epic called The Nom, and it was written by, I can't remember who wrote it, but Michael Golden drew the first couple issues. But it was a hard and real look at what it was like to be a soldier in Vietnam. And what they did was they had an edict on this comic. From the time the one issue ends until the next one starts, that's 30 days. These characters are living their lives while we're waiting for the next issue. Yeah. Because 12 issues after the first, we introduce the main character in issue 1, and then in issue 12 or 13, he goes back home because he's served his tour. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I remember reading that because there was they had like a thing, maybe it was the letters page or something, or I can't remember, but when I was younger, I read about that and how the guy, the writer was saying, like, you know, that's different. That's what's different about our comic book than any other ones, because a lot of comics,
real time passes.
I mean, sometimes not at all. You know, I mean, sometimes it's like, look, it goes right into the next.
Yeah, and they kind of
a second later or whatever.
I think it was.
So, but there's no rules, and that's fair. It's fine.
Don't forget, there was Doomsday Clock in between there when they're trying to bring in the Watchmen universe.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yes, Jesus.
So,
but I'm saying, like, there's no rules. So I mean, that also convolutes.
That's what I'm getting back to, because that's another thing they messed up. Like, I think Marvel, might have been Marvel or DC, tried to say, like, this canon from the 60s, 70s, 80s, all that was like only 5 years in our time, and it's it just doesn't work, because that's just you don't have to put a definitive timeline on it. That's the thing.
At some point, you're going to have to acknowledge and change Captain America's story,
because you can only tell so many stories.
No, I mean, well, I started saying it, but then I was realizing, wait, no, it's kind of important that he stays in World War II and that you don't update him for like Vietnam or Afghanistan or any of that shit, because World War II, to be honest, was the last time that, you know, the U.S. was like definitively the good guys. You know what I mean?
Gung-ho patriotism.
I think we all agree that.
I would say 9/11 was around that time when we were that. Too.
Yeah, but there was too many fuckers like taking advantage of that shit to fucking strip away all our freedoms. Yeah. So no.
But anyway.
But you know what I mean. So, but I mean, can you still, like? I love that. Like 10 or the last 2 decades. I can't remember when. It was probably the aughts. But they aged Steve Rogers. I don't know if you remember this, but it was, I want to say the aughts, but they basically, he lost the super soldier serum, and so he aged like rapidly to what the age he really would have been. And like in 20, 30 years, you know, that's not a possible story to tell, because he'd be dead.
Yeah.
I mean, in 20, 30 years, guys, it's going to be 100 years since World War II. And I cannot fucking believe that we're still fighting goddamn Nazis.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. But I wanted to wake everybody up who was listening to the mellifluous voice of my voice.
Here's how we tie it in.
Let's do it.
Which is why we need a hopeful, fun Superman.
Yeah.
I don't want this dour fucking Snyder fucking moody DC shit.
Don't get me wrong.
You can do that with you can do that in other
when
parts.
the first trailer for Man of Steel came out, I had a heart on. It was awesome.
That was a great score.
It looked so good, right?
The score was unbelievable.
The Russell Crowe fucking narration.
And the build, the swelling when he could fly. It was a beautiful.
Oh, and all the fucking dust and shit. Yeah. Oh my God. I came so hard.
We all did.
We all did. Some of us more than others. Snyderverse cults. Sorry.
You take it back.
But some of them did. Some of them came and were like, "That's the best orgasm I'm ever gonna have.
I'm never going to beat
I'm
that.
never gonna beat that.
Never
Better
gonna
stick with
do it."
Schneider, or else I'm never gonna." Is that what it is?
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
back to the show.
No.
Wow.
Okay.
I'm interested. Very interested. I was
Yeah.
already, but I kind of want. And again, it's kind of obvious that DC and Warner Brothers is like, well, let's show them this because they're worried. Because I know that I think they're expecting to take a loss on Blue Beetle too, to be honest. But we'll see.
Let's be honest. You are.
It did the most recent trailer was great, but I just
I'll
don't,
still go see it. We should go see it.
I don't think I want to support it, but we'll go see it. But like,
I like that actor.
the problem is I don't think a lot of general audiences are. I think it's the same thing that happened to Shazam. I think it's the same thing that...
Which sucks because I was talking to my brother at...
I really enjoyed that movie.
4th of July, we had a little grill out, and I was talking to my brother. I was like, did you see Shazam? And he has kind of sworn off DC movies for a while, ever since, I think, Man of Steel. I don't even know if he saw that. I'm sure that he's seen them by now, but I know... He goes to see the Marvel movies, in the theater like 2 or 3 times the first weekend, and still does. But he's kind of sworn off DC movies, and I don't blame him too much. But I did tell him, I'm like, honestly, Shazam was one of the best DC movies that's come out in a long time.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised.
It's a fun movie.
It was great.
Let's go, DC. Get it together. Woo!
No.
All right. Moving on.
Stay on the trash heap of history.
So got through the fun stuff.
Trash
Hey,
heap of Speaking
focus.
of trash heap of history.
Focus.
Speaking of the trash heap of history.
No, it doesn't work. You tried it twice, and
Speaking of the trash heap of history.
I
will make this fucking work.
Okay. So let's continue giving you an update on the WGA strike currently going on. So there's currently a stalemate still. And I don't think there's going to be any changes anytime soon, because this was I think it was Deadline who broke this story. Yeah, Deadline has some quotes from some executives or insiders with executives saying, "quote With this current strike, the end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses." Acknowledging that the cold as ice, so that was the first quote, losing their houses. This is directly from the Deadline article. Acknowledging the cold as ice approach, several other sources reiterated the statement. One insider said it is a cruel but necessary evil. Necessary evil! Making someone homeless is a necessary evil because you won't get your $3 million tax cut at the end of the year. Fuck you.
Yeah, you don't even need that money. That money is nothing to you. And you won't even notice if you had it or not.
I am so...
You wouldn't even. You wouldn't fucking know.
People want to know why.
You have so much fucking godless amounts of money. You wouldn't even fucking notice if you lost like $100 million.
Tyler.
You wouldn't fucking know.
Tyler, people want to know why there's such this worker revolution and why all this happened. And I'll tell you why.
Exploitation.
Yes, but because everything in our life has gone up. The housing market has gone up. Good God, it is horrible to get a house right now. And we're living in an area in a cost of living place in the United States that is much cheaper than other parts of the area.
It's rising.
Of America. Anyway, point is, everything that we pay, that we go through, and it's just everything you go through living at a normal middle class, just even middle class, which is widening day by day between the billionaire class. And you're seeing thousands of people get laid off at like Facebook and Twitter and all these other in all these places, or even these studios. Thousands of people lose their jobs, and these fat rich fucks take millions in bonuses, and they put 1,200 people on their ass. And now they're saying, we don't want to pay you anymore, and we want you to be homeless and penniless and be fucking grateful we gave you a job in the first place. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get that loud.
No.
But this is I'm spitting venom here because it's not just
You're preaching.
it's not just the
You're a crier
entertainment
here.
industry.
Yeah.
It's the whole fucking country.
Yes.
The whole entire country. I am so sick and tired of generations behind me constantly telling me, "Oh, fucking dust it off, kid. Get through it, kid." No, because you put the market in this situation.
Yes, it was
You
fucking
dumped-
easy for you, you fucking piece of
dumped-
shit.
you
You
dumped-
fucking voted in all the assholes and fucking
Tyler.
made it hard for me, fuckface.
Tyler, neither of my parents graduated high school.
Yeah.
Neither of them did. Neither of them even had a GED. And they lived well enough to support me and my brother.
Of course.
That's not even imaginable now. Not even close. And this is just a microscope of where we are as a society.
I make $15 an hour, which is where we've been able to get the national fucking conversation up to what the federal
minimum wage
minimum
is still $7.25.
Yes, but 15 is what I make, and that's where the conversation has gotten. You know what it really is? 30. Fucking $30 to $40 an hour, man. If you ain't paying me that, I ain't doing shit for you, because guess what? You're going to fucking exploit me. I was at a place the other day, and a lady was asking about, hey, you know, I see you're hiring. How much you guys paying? You know, my son, whatever, needs a summer job. 12 and a half. Fuck that, dude. No fucking way. Even if you gave me 40 hours, I can't make a living. I can't make a living. There's no fucking way I can pay bills. And since the governor in our fucking state cut the goddamn food stamps, there's no way I can fucking eat. And goddamn, how am I supposed to pay for childcare? You fucking people who have everything. I'm going to talk to people who aren't listening. You fucking people that have everything. You don't know what it's like to not have things. You don't know what it's like to not have basic necessities like heat, housing, clothing, a job, food.
They don't know desperate. They don't know.
No, they don't. And fucking you don't know what that's like. And I pray that you never do.
You've never lived a day.
Because you wouldn't fucking survive a goddamn day, man. You'd off yourself. You'd just be like, oh, I'm gonna. You'd run yourself into a wall until you died because you're such an idiot.
You know, one time when I
Goddamn,
was
dude.
really
Fucking people.
when I was really poor, when I was living in Lincoln, Nebraska, when I was really poor, and I had $9 to last me 8 days once. Whew! You know, that was a rough week. But what I'm trying to get at is that's so fucking greedy and pathetic that these executives, and I get it. I understand that Warner Brothers is in a lot of debt, for example.
Sure.
That's your own fucking fault.
Yeah.
You have nobody to you have, again, like you said, you know what?
Yeah.
That kind of debt that they have, that they've accrued, is someone who deserves to have that much
You
debt.
support us, yeah.
Because
dude.
you don't make good decisions.
No, you support a system in which we give all the money to the people at the top who fucking hoard it. That's insanity. And then we don't have any.
And like you said,
how the fuck are we not out on the streets revolting daily?
And that's something else. We talked about the Spider-Verse stuff with what Amy Pascal would say, or you see these things that fucking Bob Iger says, or Zaslav says. They're not creative people. They're not.
No.
They're not artists.
No.
They don't understand how to create.
They're
They
business
only
people,
understand
which is not
business.
a compliment.
Exactly.
I'm a business person. Well, fucking eat my shit.
So much so that they don't care, and they don't care about human beings enough that they want them to go poor and penniless.
Well, you do know that once you become a business person, you're no longer a human being. Because now you're all about business and persons.
I'm so fucking sick. I'm so fucking sick of
I
you.
don't want to say
you
that.
coming into my office and trying to ask me for basic human needs like food and shelter.
I'm sorry, you need a day off because your
You need a wage.
relative died?
You need to be paid more because your mortgage went up. Fuck you. Move somewhere else.
Yeah,
Live
get
somewhere
another
else.
job. Get another house. Just do what I do.
Yeah, buy another house. It's not that expensive. Shut the fuck
Well, just move into your vacation home. You fucking out of touch piece of shit.
They're probably the same people that think you have to show ID to buy
I
groceries.
was walking past the TV at the
Remember
station
that?
where I
Remember when
work.
Trump
Oh yeah,
said that?
oh yeah. I was walking past the TV at the station the other day, and a couple of the stations in our building have to have Fox News on all the time. I won't explain why.
Yeah.
And I was walking by. It was probably a Saturday or Sunday night, and they are really hurting for content over there because they had a bunch of old white dudes in a game show type of thing. I just glanced, but it was like supermarket something. It wasn't supermarket sweep, but it was like supermarket adventure or something like that. And from what I could tell in my briefest of looks, these fat fucking turd fucking white dudes were trying to figure out how much basic shit at the grocery store costs because they have no fucking clue. And I don't know why anybody watching that content wouldn't immediately turn it off and burn their fucking remote for being so callous and heartless that you think it's a fucking game how much people pay for money. I don't know who you are anymore.
Hollywood is burning to the ground. So
sure, great.
Fun stuff.
You know what? Fine.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, the fucking Hollywood system is stupid as shit. The Producers is a fictional story, but there are ways that you can make more money by fucking making your project.
You know what the problem is?
Batgirl. They made more money by shelving it.
They lost more money. They lost $200 million off The Flash.
That's what I'm saying. The Hollywood model is broken, dude. Somebody's making a lot of money off it, but they ain't.
A movie that was $90 million, a fraction of the Flash's budget, and could have had a bad weekend and still would have made their money back. Like, I just fucking whatever.
Just the sinking money into a sinking ship.
Yeah, it's bad. And you know what the worst part is? Because of the capitalistic system we live in, there's no good moral ground because I'm still a Max subscriber. You know, I'm still subscribed to Disney Plus. You know, I'm not. This is the problem, and this is why it's so frustrating because it's not fair that we have, like you said, built a model in Hollywood that these corporations own all the properties we love, and that sucks. Some of the best stories are owned by fucking evil corporations, and it sucks.
Yeah,
but I think there could be light at the end of the tunnel. I still want to hope that things get better and that people don't fucking lose their homes. But
what stinks about the whole situation? You create a character and you know it's good, and you know it's gonna, da 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 da, and
because of the world we live in, that has
right.
To,
but the guy who's investing in you is gonna make you sell the character to him to make it. You know what I mean?
You're partners, but they own 95%.
Yeah,
of it or
and dude, that's just. I mean, there's a Stan Lee documentary on Disney Plus. I talked about it a couple weeks ago, and it's really really interesting because he talks about there's a radio interview where Stan's on the phone and Jack Kirby's in the studio, and they're having an interview, and this is years after their split, obviously, and shortly before Kirby died, actually. I think it was his last radio interview. And they had kind of buried the hatchet a little bit, but they both made some good points. You know, he made a good point that, like, Kirby made a good point that, like, hey, I made this, I made that. And Stan was like, okay, well, honestly, these many years later, like, I just love that we made so many good things. And I don't know that we don't have... I hate that we don't know who did what or whatever. And honestly, I'm okay with you having the credit, whatever. And it was kind of an interesting way because they kind of buried the hatchet on the air.
Yeah.
But during that documentary, it's pretty much just animation and then film clips and whatnot, and TV clips. And then the narration is pretty much Stan talking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they talk about how he's like years later, he's like, man, I really wish that we had been smarter about it and, tried to own some of this shit that we were creating. But we had no idea that it was going to take off.
Yeah, well, it's like we talked about with...
no idea.
Makes me think of like the movie Air, where...
Well, they were workers for hire.
But what I'm saying is like the idea of like that, of like his mom... having the foresight to connect her son with that brand forever, and make that, and obviously they wouldn't know that at the time, and they wouldn't know these things. But that's the problem is, and that's why it's so frustrating because the writers are the creative people. We've said it; these executives are not fucking writers. No. Great example: someone like Avi Arad or I think it's Arad. He was a producer for a long time for the Spider-Man movies, for all the Raimi movies, all the Garfield movies.
And he fucked Stan Lee.
He fucked over Stan Lee.
Fucking bad, dude.
He fucking fucked over Sam Raimi. It was his idea to put Venom in Spider-Man 3, and Raimi's like, I don't understand the character. I'm not going to put a character in that I don't understand.
Yes.
And clearly Raimi's vision for Spider-Man was the fucking Silver Age or Golden Age? Silver Age Stan Lee comics. Like, if you watch those movies, I still love them.
Technically, Spider-Man wasn't around in the Golden
Venom
Age.
was so far in the 90s, like that wasn't...
Superman and Batman
that
were
Venom story wasn't really going to... it just didn't... It's not a bad... Look, I think Spider-Man 3 gets a lot of hate, but that's whatever.
It's not a terrible
that
movie.
Is what it is because of him, but my point is that's the whole point, is these executives never fucking know what they're doing, and
the CGI Sandman shit
writers,
is still
they're not
fucking
creators.
heartbreaking, dude. That shit.
It's great. I love it. Yeah, you know why? Because
writers and animators.
Because Sandman was supposed to be the main villain of that fucking movie. That's why. Raimi put a lot of effort into Sandman because he wanted him to be the main villain. Whatever. All right, let's get more angrier. Angrier.
Oh man, I don't know.
Should
we have a smoke break first? I might need a cigarette before we do this.
I need to call Jesse the body.
Let's.
And he needs to get me a cigarette. So this past week, Tyler, this movie kind of spread like a wildfire across everything because it's
because they bought out theaters.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because Christian conservatives have a lot of money.
So anyway, let's talk about the movie that everybody seems to be talking about right now.
Taking away food assistance for the elderly and children.
Starring Jesus Christ himself, Jim Caviezel.
I got struck by lightning. That's because Jesus was telling you.
I got caught in a theater. No, different guy. Because you were doing the Pee-wee voice.
As we stated earlier in the show, God was telling you to stop making that movie, motherfucker. Stop it.
Does that sound like a lightning bolt?
Well, then the actual Jesus was like, Dad, that's two. I don't think they're gonna stop. We might have to blow up the world for that to happen.
And then God said,
I got what I paid for.
Fucking A.
And then Jesus said,
Godspeed, Spider-Man.
Makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
Do the what?
Which one?
What?
There you go. Let's move on.
I could write a book about what you don't know.
Speaking of that.
Yeah, Sound of Freedom is the movie that's
Jesus.
on everybody's lips. So it's being trumpeted by the far right in religious groups as a movie that Hollywood doesn't want you to see.
The same people that watched the Tucker Carlson interview with Andrew Tate. Okay.
Right. We protect the children. We're against human trafficking.
Well, because if it's adult human trafficking, then it's fine, apparently.
But let's hear this guy out.
Sure.
Anyway.
Did you get some quotes or anything? Oh.
I got some clips. I got a fun thing. So now you say, Jake. This is what you get with free apps. You don't get free air. Get off
We're
here.
giving you a goddamn free motherfucking...
All 6 of our listeners. All right. So what do I mean? Like, who could possibly be talking about Sound of Freedom that would call
Ryan
far
Cannell?
Right? Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers as well.
So
I'll play this first one, and I want you to know. So both their videos are similar, obviously, but he saw the movie, thought it was great, and there's no politics in the movie. Now I have not seen the movie.
Me neither.
I don't intend to see the movie because I found out about the real life person this movie is based on. But so this is what's frustrating.
Internet sleuths went to work right away.
We talked about this when we used to do a conspiracy podcast. This is the problem with QAnon, and this is the problem with the QAnon adjacent movie because it is, and I'll explain why later. Like we get some popcorn, sit down because it's gonna be.
We're gonna be unwrapping the onion here.
So. The reason I have a big issue with Q and how it gets into people's consciousness and gets into people's, people that I know, they get wrapped up in this, is because it takes this universal thing that everybody agrees is awful and horrible.
Yep.
And we should do something about it, like human trafficking and child trafficking. And it takes that and then tinges it and twists it into this conspiracy. Because I got something to tell you. The movie that this guy is based on is a liar.
Yep.
a liar.
Yep.
You remember? Do you remember Coney?
Most groups.
Tyler, hold on. Do you remember Coney 2012, where it was like this thing to? Because this is what this reminds me of. Back in 2012, there was this organization that was sweeping up. Everybody was talking about like this thing for. It was called Coney 2012, and it was like helping. I think it was an African country. I can't remember. I want to look this up. But anyway, what were you saying before I?
Shit.
But the conversation.
No, I was going to say that most universal, worldwide groups that are actually helping to stop human trafficking of all ages agree that this guy is a schmuck, and most of what he does is counterproductive to what they're trying to do. So, in effect, experts, and I know the far right doesn't believe in experts, but experts about this kind of thing agree that if he did nothing, more children would be saved. So put that in your fucking pipe and smoke it, Jeremy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Let's hear from this fuck.
But anyway, he's trying. The whole narrative that they're trying to spin is that people are being ridiculous because that this is a movie about the evils of child
how could you be against this movie?
And, whatever. And I'm not saying that the movie isn't about that, but it also is. And again, it's taking this universal thing that we all agree is deplorable and evil and bad, and then twisting it for your own financial gain and your own narrative gain. But anyway, I really wanted to clip this out because it's really funny that Jeremy uses this example when he's defending something he likes.
It really does hit home the point that so many people in our society and our culture, they are
by the way, sorry,
focused on being.
He's using like the trafficking and the subject matter of this movie to talk about how this shit is pointless. This bickering,
fake victims and fake offended when there are real problems going on in this world right now, real problems that are affecting real children, and yet you have many people that just want to invent fake problems so that they can pretend to be the victim over, and it's disgusting.
You
just described your grift.
You fuck.
You do
Oh,
this.
and hey, guess who's hurting kids? With your anti-trans rhetoric, you fuck, and your anti-fucking LGBT rhetoric, you fuck. So, fuck you,
That's
dude.
what I mean.
You fucking
This is why I
white
clipped
privileged motherfucker, you.
This is why I clipped it.
What a-
Because, Tyler, this is why I clipped it. Because how dare you?
Fuck
How
you, dude. Yeah.
dare you take a moral high ground for this movie?
You make your money selling hate, motherfucker.
You make your money.
You sell hate.
Selling.
That's how you
rage videos.
Yes.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
You just described what you literally do.
Wait, 1, 2, 3. Fuck you, dude. Oh. Fuck you, dude.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. We're ready for America's Got Talent.
So again, echoing what.
So what are you two going to do today? Well, we're going to come out. We're both going to say "fuck you, dude" at the same time.
We're moving on.
Is that the entire act?
Anyway, so yeah, you got guys like Jeremy talking about it, and of course, the film is based on Tim Ballard and his group Operation Underground Railroad, an anti-trafficking group that rescues children from human trafficking, and that's what they're described as. Sound of Freedom made $14.2 million on its opening day, Independence Day, a Tuesday. But Independence Day traditionally is usually good for movies. And it got a lot of buzz because it beat Indiana Jones on July 4th. So Indiana Jones made $11.7 million. And that led to more attention and more of these guys talking about it, like Ryan Cano.
Sound of Freedom is a small budget movie, $14 million to be precise, that was made 5 years ago. Yet Disney refused to put this out. It was originally made distribution rights for 20th Century Fox.
You're going to love where this
Disney
goes.
bought 20th Century Fox, but didn't want to put it out. Strange that Disney didn't want to put out a movie about child trafficking. Weird, isn't it?
Lazy.
And now it's finally
Lazy.
in theaters, and it is dominating when you look at it compared to Indiana Jones on a per-theater basis. Sound
I
of
love
Freedom
the
beats
per-theater
Disney's Indiana
basis.
Jones by millions on 2004
Three.
screens
Three.
on July 4th. And that just continued. It continued to be competitive throughout the weekend. Sound of Freedom dominates box office on opening day. And now when we got to the weekend, you can see Sound of Freedom, despite it being on less than 3,000 screens, was challenging Indiana Jones for second place, and on a per theater basis made more money than Indiana Jones. And ironically, it looks like a lot of people in activist media, in the Hollywood media, want to put down this movie for some strange reason.
Oh, because they're groomers.
A movie
we got them.
is about combating human trafficking. That is based on a true story, by the way. It's not just made up. It's not some fiction. It's not some conspiracy theory.
It is.
This is a real person's life who founded the organization Operation Underground Railroad, where they have saved thousands of children.
Okay. I'm not denying that they probably have saved some kids. But
as I said, there are experts among this type of thing who agree that if Tim Ballard didn't do shit, more children would be saved. More people would be saved. He is counterproductive. He's basically, okay, you know what? Say you're doing a sting, right? And you're wearing a wire and you got to walk in with your friend, okay, into a situation where you got to be really, really cool and get somebody to say something, right? Cool, right? And your friend's a fucking moron. Your friend is Tim Ballard. And you walk in and everything's going just fine. And then at the critical moment when you're about to fucking get that guy to say something, Tim Ballard stands up and goes, "He's wearing a wire." That's what he does. So
we'll get there. We'll get there. So
if you're a cop and your partner's Tim Ballard, you're not going to sneak up on anybody because he'll be like,
the Vice.
We're going to get his ass, right? Shut the fuck up.
There's a really good Vice article about this that we're going to be taking from it.
Oh, yeah.
That talks about this, and they say that, like you said, there's many experts that do this that say their undercover things fuck this up a lot of the time.
Yes. They don't know what they're doing is the problem.
Back to the movie itself. Back to Sound of Freedom.
He's trying to make himself the hero when it's not. That's not what this fucking shit is about. This shit is about saving people, not fucking championing you fucking asshole.
Worth noting that about 2.6 million of opening day sales were earned through the Pay It Forward app, which the company framed as a way to raise awareness about child trafficking.
Sure.
So that's what I mean. I've heard a lot of reports of
see my movie
of people buying tickets and buying out theaters to bump the sales. But also worth noting that Indiana Jones was on its 5th day when it was up against Sound of Freedom. When we all know opening day movies usually make more money because people want to go see it.
Right.
Also worth noting, did you know, and I did not know this until like 2 days ago, that or last weekend, that there was an Insidious movie coming out this summer? Because that movie had virtually no marketing, and it made number 1 of the box office. Sound of Freedom dropped to 3rd. Indiana Jones eventually did take over and in 2nd place. So that victory was great for an opening, and that movie, again, this movie's made more money than I think most people expected. But it's just, there's a lot around this that, that is questionable because, Insidious, The Red Door, doubled the Sound of Freedom's gross without no marketing, and so again, it finished 3rd in the box office.
Insidious is a popular horror franchise.
Now look, if you
Patrick Wilson directed.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't see this movie or don't see this movie.
Go for it.
Whatever you want to do, I don't care. But keep in mind who is involved with making this movie.
Keep in mind who wants you to see this movie.
This movie is very the approach to this. This Tim Ballard guy himself just seems very self-righteous about this, and you find out that he's fucked up a lot of situations and he's a liar. So again, this is directly from that Vice News article. Vice News had previously reported a number of OURs, Underground Operation Railroads, claims about its work are dramatically overstated or without clear documentary evidence.
This is the article I read,
Yep. People who have volunteered for OUR have raised concerns that it could actually have been creating demand for trafficking victims by going to foreign countries on undercover, air quotes, missions that at times have seemed to consist of walking around bars and sex clubs asking for underage girls. The organization's support for law enforcement has at times been wildly exaggerated and involved OUR taking credit for agency's operations after making relatively trivial donations and its much-touted aftercare program for survivors has at times involved things like placing women with unqualified providers and even fabricating a college graduation ceremony.
They in that same article, I think you should find. I don't know if you can find it, but in that same article, they talked about they saved like I can't remember how many people, and then within like 2 months they were on their own.
Yeah,
the people that they saved,
Yeah.
these victims, no assistance whatsoever, just on the street.
we'll have a link to it in this in the episode. You should definitely read that article. It's great because there's another passage I'm pulling from it too. In another story uncovered by Vice News, OUR, heavily marketed its role in the rescue of Liliana, a young trafficking survivor, with Ballard telling a fanciful story about his rescue in the congressional testimony and in op-eds and media appearances. So yeah, for a while he was making the rounds as this hero because of this story. And this is what upsets me. This poor girl had something unimaginable happen to her. This was a child.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what's so frustrating. Because I'm getting worked up talking about it because it's a kid. And I keep thinking, and I keep saying, you have got to be careful with this shit because people like this asshole will lie. And the reason I'm saying he's lying, because after he makes all these media appearances, he called for a border wall directly to the President of the United States. She, in fact, was rescued herself and did not meet our representatives until years after she had done so when she was preparing to testify against her traffickers in court. So because she was in court, she had to say that that was not true. He lied. He took advantage of a child that had their childhood robbed from them. It's pathetic.
For political clout. Huh, who else do we know that uses children for political clout? Governor Reynolds.
So when
Fucking
people
scumbag.
ask Jake, why don't you support this movie? It's it's against child trafficking and blah 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 blah. That's why.
Because we've done our
'Cause they're
fucking
liars.
research, dude.
Because they're liars.
We did our research.
And if you don't believe me,
Okay.
listen to this.
Let's
It's a
do
long
this.
one,
Sure.
but hear it from the fucking horse's mouth.
Okay.
Horse's mouth itself.
Horses.
Really red light district. You gotta be really bad, okay, to get
Talk
arrested.
about a
in
mission
Holland.
and
They were arrested in
Holland.
2020. Fugitives. They ran, and they were hiding. No one knew who they were. Well, they rear their ugly heads. The leader, this guy named Nelson Materlin, he raises. I'm literally in Poland at the time, at our staging operation for Ukraine, and I get this information that this guy in Mexico is trying to traffic kids out of Ukraine. And so I go undercover. The Dutch asset who gave me that information infiltrated me, and I'm undercover talking to this guy. Well, in the end, we ended up, in fact, just yesterday, 2 of the guys were convicted in Ecuador because it led us to Ecuador, a child sex hotel, these pedophiles from Holland, and set up. But we'll get it.
Real quick, we're about, I don't even know what time we are on this, but this man is not telling the truth. This sounds like a guy who's making up the story in the room.
As he goes along, yep.
We'll get into that another time, okay? But the point I'm making is, I had to study their literature. This was a political platform. This was a political party, and what I started recognizing is I named
a
them
political party.
I don't know. I call it the pedophile network doctrines.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
It's like they include things like separate children from parents.
Jesus
Parents
Christ.
are a bad influence. The state knows best. Sexualize kids. Let them see pornography. 2,
Karl Marx.
3, take God out of
Karl Marx,
education
that was
because
Jim
that just gets
Caviezel.
in the way. And kids consent. Children can consent to anything. At 12 years old, they should be able to vote. They should be able to do anything. Now, what am I saying here? My stomach is getting sick as I'm reading this. I read this every day. It's the woke left agenda.
I bet you fucking read
I'm
it
not
every
saying
day.
that
You
they're
wrote it.
reading or talking. It doesn't matter. It's the same dark source. But they are peddling.
So the woke left. Wow. So that is why these far-right groups, these religious groups, rallied behind this movie. Because that fucking guy is a part of it. And if there's any question that he isn't involved with this movie. He was doing media with Jim Caviezel.
I have some stuff.
Just
So
don't get too loud,
I won't. I
please.
know we got stuff, but so I worked for the Women's Crisis Center in Denver, and we actually had some limited training on this type of stuff. And basically, what goes on is this. Okay, so if you teach your child that their body's dirty and don't talk to them about their body, if somebody abuses your child, they're going to
Accept it.
They're not going to say anything when the person tells them not to, okay?
Right.
Because they don't know how to. They don't know that that's wrong. They don't know that they have autonomy. It is not about it's not about kids watching porn, you fucking idiots. It's about kids being autonomous of their own body
and knowing
at
what
an
that
early
is. And
age
they know
so
what
that
that
they
is.
can say if somebody tries to touch them, fuck you, man. And they can go to somebody and say, hey, that dude or that woman,
Exactly.
whatever.
Yes.
That is all what that's about. And it is also so very important to a healthy adult sex life, to healthy adults in general, to be aware of your body and what it is and understand what things happen. I mean, I know, motherfucker, that you've never had a period. I know you have never had one. And God forbid if you have daughters and had to fucking deal with that and they had to deal with you as their dad. I mean, fuck, Jesus Christ. I can't. What's going on? You're bleeding? I don't understand. I mean, you know that would happen, right? But dude, I mean, this whole...
This is why it's frustrating, because it's like I said, this is why it gets it's like, you know, it gets infected in people's brains.
God
This
damn
is the
it.
problem.
Yes.
Because it's something that is emotional. It is something that drives you insane. I had to talk in a certain tone to deliver that information because it's so bad.
Oh, I fucking... And you know, and like I said, like one of the things that we did when we went door to... I canvassed, so I went door to door every day for like 7 hours trying to raise money. And yeah, I had one guy come to the door and wouldn't open the screen door, and I told him where I was there for, and he had a whole dinner party, probably about 8 men and women, adults, all white. And he said, well, I haven't raped anybody today, but if I do, I'll be sure to give you a call. Jeez. And everybody at that fucking table laughed, dude. Ugh. I had to go down and sit and fucking at the corner and smoke like 4 cigarettes before I was ready to go to the next house. I was so fucking livid. Later, this person that I worked with said, you could have called the cops on him because he said da-da-da-da-da. And I wish I would have. Because fuck that fucking human being, dude. Fuck human beings like that think that that's funny.
Yeah.
That's not funny.
No.
So anyway, the point is we canvassed and we would give out literature. And one of the things that we did was representatives from our organization would go to schools and they would teach kids about good touch, bad touch. It's not fucking pornography or sex scenes in books, you
sex
fucking
acts
reactionary
and all this stupid
fucks.
shit.
It's, hey, that's yours and nobody gets to touch it but you.
Yes. That is all.
That's it.
It's just telling these kids to be smart and understand what adults can and can't do with them and understand what boundaries are.
If you and Ryan and Jeremy and Tim, if you guys have fucking problems with telling kids that that's theirs and no one else can touch it but them unless they allow it, then you're the fucking groomer, motherfucker, okay?
Yeah.
You're the ones who have fucking problems. And by the way, with all this talk about this, you know, stuff, like, I think this is the first time in like 6 months that we've even touched upon children's genitals. These guys do it every fucking day. So who's really fucking concerned about, you know what I mean?
I said this.
Sorry, I got a little loud.
No, well, no. I've said this when I see it on Twitter with, you know, Ben Shapiro and all these other conservative talking heads.
Nice yarmulke, dude. Yeah. Virtue signaling at it fucking worst, dude.
Anyway,
the fucking worst.
It's.
I'm Jewish. Look.
I also said if you are Jew and you voted for Obama, you're not a real Jew.
Yeah. No, we know, Ben. It's virtue signaling. Yeah. You are the fucking.
Anyway. Yeah. Ben Shapiro, like clockwork, will tweet about something about grooming or kids. You know, any fucking conservative wingnut, and It's like you guys talk more about children's genitals than anybody, dude. With all this
Eric July.
with all this fucking
Eric July.
with all this fucking transphobic shit and all this homophobic shit and groomer this and groomer that and pedophiles this and that. It's like, you know what you're doing? One, some of you are projecting. Two, you're trying to poison the well. And saying anybody that has a dissenting, anybody that has a problem with Tim Ballard or this fucking movie, then you have to be pro pedophile, and that's not fucking true at all.
Well, it's the same bullshit with
but
if
they
you
use
don't
that
love
for
Trump,
everything.
you're not a patriot.
If it's gay, it's going after your kids.
Right,
If it's
right.
trans, it's going after your kids.
If you don't love Trump, you're not a patriot. That type
Yeah,
of bullshit.
yeah.
It's
Fuck
fucking
you.
cult fucking thinking, and it's fucking fascism. And you guys are all fucking fascists. You're all
So-
fucking hate-filled crumpets of shit.
So bring it around.
Did I say crumpets?
There's a reason.
Crumpets?
There's a reason Vice has this
Donuts.
article. It has this article
Yes.
out. There's a reason why the Rolling Stone, power to them,
Yes.
in their review,
Fuck
said
yes.
what it is. It's fucking QAnon boomer superhero fantasy. And it
Countless
is.
articles online, dude.
So,
Countless. By
when you-
reputable sources.
To say it as clear as I can, to make it real simple for the really stupid ones out there. No one is pro child trafficking. That is a decent, normal human being. Nobody is for that.
Nope.
But guys like Tim in this fucking movie hurt the people doing the real work.
Yep.
And it's just like that save the children hashtag bullshit from QAnon. It damages the people doing the real work out there.
Yeah.
And that's why I will never support this.
You're
movie.
you're
I will
creating
never
you're creating
fucking
a
watch
false
this movie.
enemy so that the real enemy is going free. That's the problem. You're creating this false enemy that are general
Taking
genial
a real problem
yes,
and mutilating it to
ghosting
your
us
narrative.
and fucking ghosting us, dude. Gaslighting it, dude. You're fucking gaslighting it. You're saying, "Hey, it's all these people over here," when we fucking know it's the motherfuckers that you go to rallies for. Because they have the money to hold rallies, motherfucker. Don't you understand? The people who are trafficking are not poor fucking gay dudes who work at your coffee shop. They don't have any money. It's fucking Trump and those guys who have money. They have nothing better to
guy
do with
who
their
was
money.
friends
They've
with
bought
Epstein.
everything. They've bought everything. They've bought everything. What's next to buy? What's left to buy? I've already made all this money. Oh, people. If you don't think right now, as I'm speaking, that there's some poor schmuck on an island somewhere on this world
Being
getting
hunted?
hunted,
Yeah.
then you're fucking naive, dude.
There's got to be.
Probably 4 or 5 right now, I would wager.
5? Seems a bit
On
high.
different. There's a lot of fucking billionaires with a lot of fucking time, dude. Exploiting workers
I mean,
doesn't take
how
that
many
much time.
But you know what makes me laugh about that? Because that plot has been used multiple times in movies. And that's not a plot that I'm like, most of the time you see a movie, like, there's no way shit like that
Right.
would happen. When I watch those, I'm like, oh, I believe it.
You know what really sucks?
I would watch it.
No. You know what really sucks?
Wouldn't you?
That's how I'm gonna die.
But what if they're given a fighting chance? Like, what if they could kill the hunters?
I think anybody who is willing to hunt another human being wouldn't give that human being any sort of chance because they're fucking giant
the show
pussies in
does.
general.
It's like Extreme Survivor with
Oh, you're talking about a reality show.
no. But if it was like not really, no.
Don't give anybody the idea, dude.
No, I'm saying a movie. No, I'm in a
Okay,
movie. In
okay.
a movie, not a real reality show. Please don't do that.
No, I'm saying
But like the Running Man, but in
somebody
the jungle,
wants to
like,
start it,
like
yeah.
Survivor meets Running Man, like something shit.
yeah,
Like
the Running Man. By the way,
that. But in a jungle. Come on. Versus a predator.
quick off topic.
Come on, Tyler, make the movie.
Going off topic real quick.
on.
If you have a chance, I've said this before on the show, if you have a chance to read Richard Bachman's The Running Man, it is a far superior story to the one told in Arnold Schwarzenegger's
Get
The
out.
Running Man.
Get out.
However, you cannot beat The Running Man for sheer 80s fucking adrenaline pumping action, dude.
Sub-Zero, more like
Plane Zero.
Anyway,
What does he say about the lightning,
to
dude?
wrap it up.
Okay.
Watch those movies.
He had to split.
Watch an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
he had to split.
That was gnarly. Oh yeah, you forgot. You know who else was in that movie? Jesse the
Body. What was his name? Captain
Oh fuck! Who was he in that movie?
Fuck, I'm looking it up.
You know what we need to do? We
Look
need
it
to do
up,
a
cast.
we need to do a Running Man.
Yes, we
commentary.
fucking do,
That's
dude.
it. Let's wrap
Look
up.
at that beautiful son of a bitch.
Recording. So who am I in that movie again?
You're Captain Freedom.
Oh yeah. Of course.
And you actually
Captain
get to
Freedom.
kill some people that don't look, that aren't actually Arnold and Maria Conchita Alonso.
Was she in Total Recall?
She's been in a ton of shit. No, that was Rachel.
Different perm.
Yes. No, Maria Conchita Alonso is one of the most underrated fucking actresses in all of movie history. She is not only an incredible actress, but she's fine. She's fine. She's in a ton of shit. I haven't seen her in a long time, but she's been in a ton of stuff, and she makes that movie. You know, her role as like, because she doesn't play like a damsel in distress per se. You know what I mean? She's kind of a badass a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's Eddie Buzzsaw Vitowski, Professor Sub-Zero, Fireball,
Sub-Zero.
Dynamo.
Ah.
Ah,
I'll give you
What's
a
the matter,
rating.
Dylan?
I'll give you a rating on that.
Pushing
easy
too
it
many
was
pencils?
to kill them. They were all Fs because they're dead. I killed them.
You killed him.
Bah.
Ah,
That's what the gun made.
you are an ugly
Ah,
motherfucker.
that's what my machine gun
You just
shot at.
you just fucking walked all over my.
What would you say?
You are an ugly motherfucker.
See, that just.
Predator.
I mean.
That was Predator.
Oh yeah.
Stick around. I ain't got time to bleed.
Hey,
Hey,
that's my line.
listen here.
Hey, I ain't got time to listen to this shit. I got stuff to do.
Listen, I gotta go down to Baja.
I'm
and get
gonna
some-
go.
I gotta make a cocaine run to Baja.
Turns out I took my airboat.
Put it in a hollow tire.
I went to.
That way I can
I went
make
to
it
the
through
bayou and wrestle some gators.
Yep, that way I can make it through customs.
Have you ever had gator steak in the hot springtime?
I have.
It's moist and tastes swampy.
We'll start the theme again so we can finish this out. Okay. You know, I have had that gator steak in the hot sun, and I'll tell you what, it's fantastic.
You know what I said?
Off panel, off topic with Jake and Tyler.